And we'll start with Sam. Hi, Sam. You got a great question for us tonight.
Yes, Andrew, I know you spoke about this yesterday, but I'm sure people would benefit, I too, hearing you just address it again. And it's, what if Jesus, risen from the dead, is the reason you behave? And how that defeats and abolishes the law of mentality in our lives, and how that can liberate us from that monkey on the back, so to speak, which is the law.
Okay, yeah, I love it. So, Jesus Christ, risen from the dead, what if he's the reason you behave? What if he's the only reason you behave? Well, that would certainly mean that you stop living just for the church people. That would mean you stop living just for a good reputation. That would mean that you're no longer living for what are they going to say about me? And instead, you're motivated and inspired by something, by someone who is very powerful, who has risen from the dead, who lives inside of you at the core of your being. We're not talking about anything less there than a very, almost mystical experience. That's the word people use when they falsely accuse us of teaching this wrongly, because we are talking about Jesus, alive from the dead, living today inside of you. And it's his spirit, it's his power, it's his counsel, and it's not about a rule book. I mean, the Bible's not a rule book where you look up, your top 25 rules and try to keep them all. That's not the purpose of the Bible. The purpose of the Bible is for you and me to get to know the author. And the most important message in the Bible is called the gospel. You can know the Bible and yet miss the gospel. And when you get to know the gospel, part of the gospel message, a most powerful part, is Jesus has risen. He wants to live inside of you. He wants to live through you. And you mentioned the law, Sam. Well, yeah, this is why people are hanging on to law-based living, because they can't imagine how would it work. How would it work any other way? I know a friend of ours who's, he's basically in a major city here in the United States, and he's been church hopping. He's been church hopping and church shopping and looking around for some church in his area to be preaching the grace of God strongly, boldly, clearly. And in the process, he's been to a whole lot of Bible studies. And whenever he brings up the topic of Christ living through you, they look at him sideways, then they look him straight in the eye, and they say, "Well, we don't know what you're talking about. We've never heard it like that. Christ living through you." Well, that should be pretty normal. It's called walking by the Spirit. It's called Galatians 2:20. I no longer live. Christ lives in me. The life I now live, I live by him. That means I'm trusting him and his resurrection life inside of me. That's not mystical. That's just plain old Christianity, or it should be. And so I love your question, Sam, because it gets us focused back on the core message of Christianity, which is not behavior improvement. It's not sin management. It is Christ living in you and through you. And if Christians today across the planet really knew that, then would we be arguing about Moses? Would we be arguing about the law? Would we be arguing about 10 Commandments? Would we be chopped up in all these denominations and everybody having their favorite rules to keep? We wouldn't be worried about rules. We'd be believing what Colossians 2 says. Colossians 2 says rules have the appearance of wisdom, but they lack any value in restraining sin. That's right. They look good. They smell good. They seem good. They smell religious, those rules. And yet they do not restrain sin. It is not about rules. It is about letting Christ rule. He reigns. He rules. He's alive from the dead. He lives in you. What if Jesus, risen from the dead, is the only reason you behave? Whoa, that'd be something, huh? Well, how about you start that right here, right now, today, and just simply say, Lord Jesus Christ, I do believe. I believe you rose from the dead. I've called upon you to be saved. I believe you live inside of me. You didn't just give me a ticket to heaven. You gave me yourself inside of me. And so I'm going to trust that you're in there. And I'm going to live as if you're in there, because you are. And I'm going to let you express your life through my personality. And when we let him do that, we're living Galatians 2:20. I no longer live, but wait a minute, I do live, but he lives in me, and I live by faith in him now. A whole new way to live. So, Sam, thanks for the question. Reach out to us there in Texas anytime. We want to hear from you again.